What's going on, guys? This past weekend, I attended the Greenville, South Carolina Regional, and I just wanted to talk about how the event went and, show off some of the cool cards that I picked up and just the overall experience I had at this regional. The last time I did a video like this, you guys really enjoyed it, so hopefully you guys will enjoy this one as well. But without further ado, let's start talking about this. So obviously, similar to the last regional I had gone to, I didn't play in this event. Most people know that, I play a lot of retro Yu-Gi-Oh! So my main goal was really just to kind of hang out with friends, as well as trade for some of the cards that I was looking for, my H.A.T format decks or other past format decks, as well as just pick up cards that maybe I've wanted for a while or something along those lines. And the last event, I didn't pick up the most stuff. Trades seemed very scarce. So I went into this event kind of with kind of not really expecting too much out of it, I would say. And especially because the night before, I kind of pulled almost an all-nighter. There was a little bit of a personal matter that was going on, so I had to deal with that stuff, and then following that, I only got a couple hours of sleep, and so I was already kind of out of it. So my expectations in terms of the event was kind of low to go off of, especially given how the last event went. But it was actually kind of surprising, because I felt that for this event, I actually did pick up a little more of the stuff that I actually wanted, and trades and stuff were a lot more prevalent, even though in terms of the numbers of players, it was still for the regional, I think a little over 300 players, and it was still 9 rounds of Swiss and stuff. So very similar to the last regional I actually went to, but overall people were they brought more trades, they were more willing to trade, and it was a really cool event. I left with some pretty cool stuff, so I'm gonna just start flipping through some of this. I already re-sleeved some of it, but other things weren't really re-sleeved yet. I'll kind of talk about some of the stuff and why I picked it up, or just in general kind of show you guys some of the cool stuff, and you can let me know in the comment section what was your favorite card that I picked up. Again, a lot of it is for more of the retro decks and stuff that I have. This is actually a Euro QCR Cataster. Really cool pickup. I wasn't really expecting to pick up one of these, as I already have alties and stuff, but the guy had one, and there wasn't really much else I was looking for from their stuff, so I figured I'd pick it up. I picked up a couple gold Beals. I had been wanting some more gold copies for a while. I have some secrets and some golds, but I don't know, something about the original printing of this card in its gold secret. Some people don't like it, some people do. I think it looks pretty nice. So those were pretty cool pickups. A couple Super Leos. Similar thing with the Beals. I just needed some more copies. I like the rares, but obviously Super is technically the highest rarity of it. So pretty nice to get a few more of those. And then some of this stuff is really basic things that I have several copies of, and in this stack specifically there is a lot of QCRs and stuff. I mentioned this the last video I did about a similar thing, where there are higher rarities, for example Lavalval Chain, there's DTs and stuff, but I'm kind of trying to make everything for the most part QCR and downgrade a little bit, just so that I can take the additional value and put it back into some of my other decks and stuff. So that's kind of the reason that I'm going with some of these. Again, there's DTs of this. I wish this card came alti. I feel like it would look really, really well, but the QCR looks pretty good in my opinion too, and DT. Emerald is just a great card. I wish people had more of these. I definitely would have picked up more, just because so many decks play it. This was kind of cool, the alt art Red MD. I do own these already, but I figured it's another one of those cards that why not pick up more. And yeah, so just in general, trades were a lot more prevalent, even though I would say at the beginning of the event, there was only a handful of people that weren't playing and were there just to trade, as well as a lot of people got round 1 losses. They were really strict on, making sure to start on time. There were people getting round 1 losses just waiting in line to sign up, I should say. So that was kind of, a little interesting on that end, but besides that, like in between rounds, as people were like dropping from the event, or just in general, as you know, they either won or lost their game in the early rounds, people were just like willing to trade. And very similar to last time, everyone was really cool and down to earth, and it was just a good time. I was able to play a couple games of H.A.T in between rounds with just people who, you know, said they like the format, or a couple different friends and stuff expected me to bring, you know, H.A.T decks, and I was able to play a few games here and there. Unfortunately, like some I wasn't able to finish because like rounds were starting and they were still in the tournament, or just in general, you know, between me trying to get trades and stuff, I didn't have the most time, I would say. This was really cool. I've been wanting some more QCR Mermelios for a while. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a third, but, you know, there are decks that play two. With so many cards I'm trying to pick up, sometimes I do need to just pick up like a random one of and try to complete the set later on. So that is something that comes up a good amount. Like, for example, here's just one bear. Even though, like, bear is kind of a card that in a lot of cases you can just play as a one of, there are several decks that, like, just tack one in. For example, like the Constellar deck sometimes does, or even, like, Bujin does from time to time. Hopefully you guys are able to see these all right. For some reason, there's, like, a little glare dot that keeps popping up, so I'm trying to, like, avoid that a little, but still show off the nice shine that these cards have. This was another card, like an example of a card that, like, I have a bunch already. It's just, I figured it's better to have more in case I build another deck that actually needs to play it, or for just past formats and stuff. There's so many decks that play that. This was another card I was really, kind of happy to pick up. I needed a lot more card troopers. Unfortunately, I could only find the one. My friend actually picked it up for me because he owed me a little bit of trade value and stuff. So that was a nice pickup there. Same with like Whitestone. I've been needing these for the Mythic ruler deck. Right now I have like secrets and stuff, but I've been wanting some QCRs, and then I think I might have like one or two more of these already. I forget how many I have, but I wanted to have a playset just to be safe. And yeah, same with like Treeborn. Treeborn was a card I've been wanting for a while in QCR. It had got bought out for a while, so I wasn't actually able to pick any up, but then someone just had one and the prices like dropped over time a bit. So it just looks so good in that QCR foiling. And yeah, anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, like there was a lot more trades around, so that was very nice to see. And Allure was also a card that I really wanted. I only expected to pick up one, but like the last trade of the day, someone had one, and we were able to make something work with that, so that was also nice. But I was able to meet a handful of people who actually watch the channel and stuff, so that was also like a really hype thing. It was funny, the last round, it was round 9, I'm trading with someone, and one of my friends is wanting to play some H.A.T and stuff, so he's like sitting off to the side, and I'm talking with this guy about trading and stuff, and then my friend who I drove to the event with, he walks over and he's like, hey, I want you to meet this person, and it was the person he had played in the last round. And I guess they were, after the round, they were gonna like trade or something, and my friend, obviously, like I said, he looks out for, you know, cards that I need and stuff. So he asked him, like, oh, do you play any retro formats or anything like that? And so the guy starts, like, mentioning off, you know, what formats he plays, and he mentions H.A.T as one of the ones he plays. And so then my friend starts talking to him more, and, like, it turned out that the guy actually watches the channel from time to time, commented on videos. Really, really nice guy. It's always great to meet you guys. And so I was able to speak with him. We could, you know, make some trades. Just the whole concept of how it played out, that my friend ended up playing against the guy and bringing up H.A.T format and stuff, was just kind of comedic, because the guy I was trading with actually had played that guy. I think he said it was like his 3rd round or something. And my friend was playing Kashtira Regenesis, and the guy I was trading with had been playing Regenesis Tempai, I believe it was. And so the matches they had were very similar, where post-side, they both played Heatwave. And so against the guy who came up to meet me, he showed me like a picture and told me about that in like both games he got heat waved like 2 to 3 times, and I was just like, oh, that's rough. He did manage to beat my friend though in that last round, so I mean, good on him, unfortunate for my friend, but you know, it happens. But in general, it was just a really cool experience. It was really just busy towards the end of the event. A lot of people were like trying to talk to me and get trades and stuff like that. And so I felt a little bad towards the end. I was kind of like ADHD brained all over the place. But yeah, no, it was cool to, you know, meet that guy. And there was a few other people who also subscribed and also have just like told me that they watched the videos and stuff. So those were like the main things that I already had sleeved up here. Here's a couple other just random things. I picked this up because my one friend who was on Regenesis, he needed this because they're teching it from time to time in certain builds of it. This is also a Euro copy. It looks really nice. Like, I always say how good Euro cards look because of how dark they are, especially for like blues, greens, and purples, and just an iconic card. Then there's some random stuff. I got some like Morganites thrown in. I think these come secret in one of the Megatins, but with the new Morgana or Morganite support coming out in the next main core set, I figured it's best to just have these in case I go and play some stun deck. This King Sark, just picked it up because I needed to find value from someone. Picked up a couple Ironwall Ultras, and that was pretty cool. I actually don't own that many of these. I think I only have a couple sets, so it was nice to pick up more. Don't ask on that. That was a random thing. This is for a deck profile that I had recorded. I'm pretty sure that this video will come out before that deck profile, and I have these already, but one of the copies was kind of banged up for my liking. I'm a little picky when it comes to condition that time and stuff. I really want my stuff to be like near min or like very light play, and so the one I had like a couple indents and stuff on it, so I just picked up another one. One by one, it feels like every one of these regionals, I'm picking up one platinum upstart, trying to, you know, pick up as many of these, but I, for some reason, can only find one at a time. So here is another one. I think I'm one away from my next set, so that's kind of nice. Platinum Dark Bribe, this was just a throw-in from someone. I picked up a Vanquished Soul Xiaolong Ultra, and I guess they had shot up in price a bit to like $18 or something, and so I made a trade, and then at the end, we had already reached the value of it, and so he was just like, oh, you can have this because it's not worth anything. So very cool there. And then the last thing to show off is I picked up a couple misprints. I used to collect misprints a lot back in the day, and when I sold out my personal collection, I got rid of them. And so someone had these in their binder, and I picked these up, not for me, but for some friends. I have a friend who really likes and collects pendulum misprints specifically. So I was able to pick up this Skullcrobat Joker. Obviously, the name shift is pretty decent there. This was like kind of a common misprint in a sense in the rarity collection. I wouldn't say it's like common, but you do see a lot of the name shifts for them. So I picked this up just because, you know, it's one of the more playable pendulums in general, so I thought that was kind of cool. They also had a Electromite that was the same shift, and I tried really hard to get that one, and I almost got them to come off of it, but they did decide to hold on to it, which was a little unfortunate, but it's very understandable. They were kind of hoping that they'll hold on to it until it comes off the ban list, so it makes sense. But I was able to, you know, luckily clutch this one out, as well as a name-shifted Avendred Savior. This one's a name shift up, and I have a friend that collects zombie cards and zombie misprints, so this was just another card for them. And yeah, no, it's pretty nice. I was able to get these for a decent deal. I know in the misprint community and the market can be really just whatever the person wants to value them at. as there's not really a set price on a lot of misprints. And speaking of which, I did find like this one guy, he was really cool to talk to. He had a lot of like crazy misprints, and he had like the whole K series rares and stuff, if you guys know anything about that from, way back in the day with the UDE problem with Konami and stuff. So he had the whole set of that, and that's like something that throughout the years of playing and like dealing with misprints and prize cards and collectibles and high end, I've only seen like maybe 2 or 3 other sets like fully completed of that. So it was really cool to just find someone who randomly had that in their binder. Obviously they weren't moving it or anything, or I may have made an attempt at trading for it, but at the same time it wasn't like something super on my mind. But yeah, so in general though, the event went pretty well. It was a fun time always being able to trade with people and get to meet people who like H.A.T format and watch the videos. It's always cool, and I'm hoping, again, I still don't know if I'm going to be going to Nationals yet. I will let you guys know as soon as I know. And if so, I'll probably, have a lot more content from that, especially with the Attack of the Giant card being a H.A.T format tournament. Not sure if I'll play in that if I do go to Nats. Again, there's just a lot of unknowns. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. Comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out. Share this video with your friends. And anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.